Good morning, everyone. Today's the 24th of April. This is Brad Matheny. We're looking at another kind of a wild rally day here. We're at the apex. You can see here on this chart the purple lines. Let me come back over here to 2 hour. Hide this. You can see here that we're at this apex. We're getting the volatility. Okay, this is now the range that we had talked about in regard to the volatility. We're going to start to get a pretty big move here. Don't know. I mean, honestly, as I mentioned to you before, this market move, let me get rid of some of these lines. This is where I went short yesterday. We've had a big pop up here, um, crazy kind of volatility. I'm thinking this is a washout high. We'll see. NASDAQ is up huge, 340 points, 1.26 on some news, obviously. But, technically speaking, we've come back down here into bearish trending, slight bearish trending, rolled back up here into bullish trending right at the apex. We got to see. We really got to see how this plays out because in a flagging formation up to the peak, down A, B, C, D, I would have thought an E here. Well, we continued to roll through the cycle. So now I would consider this an extended flag, meaning that we had the A, B, C, D, E failed to break away. Now we have an extended flag. Now we have an extension of that flag playing out, possibly setting up a broader flag in this formation. And possibly playing out a little flag here, which would be, again, A, B, C, D, E with a rotation downward. So let me draw this here, having an A, B, C, D, E potential downward flag. Here's a potential upward flag, which failed, rolled into this big rotation yesterday, resetting the range, moving down. And again, depends on how I count this. If I count this A, B, C, D, E, we can count to the upside. Or if I count this breakdown as the reset, calling it A, B, C, D, E, then I would be able to count it like this: breakdown causing reset, A, B, C, D, E, potential breakdown. You can see how I'm counting these. So it depends on how we would originate that range. Seeing as though we get into this apexing zone over here, and we're truly back at that apexing flag, apex type of zone. All I can tell you is, given all of these flag rotations in this area, we have the purple, we have the red here, we have the blue here. We're likely to see a pretty wide volatility zone here. We're likely to see some type of a breakout move. Could I tell you that it's going to be up or down right now? The only thing I can tell you is that we have the broader flag, looks like it's a break up pattern. Okay, that's the blue broader flag. We got the two minor flags indicating a breakdown period. Now, if we get any carryover of this breakdown trend that we saw yesterday, it's going to be very likely in the form of a retesting of these lower levels down here. So if we do get the breakdown, it'll probably come test the 700 level if it happens. If not, and we have any type of positive news today, meaning, NASDAQ is pretty high, global markets are pretty high right now, Japanese markets up 1.69. Um, if we do not see that breakdown period, then of course my shorts and my puts are going to end up worthless today. I'll take my lumps and I'll move on. If we do see a breakdown, I would be cautious of a fairly strong breakdown. Because we're in flagging, I'm going to tell you that I don't expect a breakaway move today. I expect essentially price to stay within this range, you know, pretty much, let's call it 704 to 718. Somewhere around that area on the SPY. If I come over here, that's the XPX 500. This is the SPY. This is our range. I would expect price to stay just like I've drawn here, a little higher, so I could move this up a little bit to 704. A little too high. Let's call it 699. To 718, 719, 720. So that would be the range, Ross, that I would expect today. Psychologically, I'm not touching my trades unless I get some kind of a breakdown move, which I should have probably booked some of my position yesterday. Was really kind of waiting to see what happened if we've got a breakdown mode, which we didn't. So today's a make or break, an all or nothing, as Dane said. And yes, Dane, I appreciate all of your comments. I got a comment yesterday from a client, and you know who you are. You were looking over my new trader workflow doc, and the comment he sent was just wonderful. Been with me for a while. Matthew has indicated that I've really helped him kind of position and plan for what he's doing. He's been trading on his own. I don't know for how long, but obviously skilled enough to make a decision. And he says that basically I've helped him learn to focus his trading on success and managing the expectations, which is wonderful. If I can, if that's my goal here, is to try to teach you what I know. You know, I've had my heart condition. Many of you know that. It seems to be doing okay. But the reality is before I die, I want to try to share as much as I can. And obviously, I'm charging a small amount. I want to make sure that I'm trying to cover my costs in doing all this in my time. But I want to try to share and I want to try to teach as much as possible to try to get you guys to, learn. Now, I did through a friend of mine have an associate of mine take a look at the website. He said it's pretty confusing, so I'm going to try to clean things up a little. I tried before. I deliver a lot of content. It's hard to organize all this content. Maybe I'll talk to Lisa about maybe how to clean this up and organize it a bit better. But I'm going to try to clean up the website, and the purpose behind that is I want to make sure that it's functional and structural and not overwhelming, which I think it is right now. But again, where we're at right now, we're in a make or break kind of a move. If you come in here and look at the daily, we've moved back down below that extreme trending. We do have a bit of a flash trend here, which would indicate we could see some kind of a bump to the upside, or we could continue to move downward. We're in bearish trending here. We're in weakening bullish trending here. Same thing here, weakening bullish trending. We actually have a new daily sell trigger right here, indicating a downward price pressure trend. We'll see how that lasts. A downward pressure trend, as you can see back over here, we don't get them that often, but when we do, we typically get some kind of a downward move. In this case, we ran into sideways trending. In this case, we ran into slight downward trending, but a downward pressure move can be indicative of a fairly strong downtrend. So we need to be aware of the fact that right now we're getting that downward trend. And as of yesterday's close on the SPY, notice we're up about 0.5% right now, but this is a downward cycle trend telling us right now that we're technically moving into a breakdown phase. Now, we're not into a breakdown phase below my trigger level, but we are in a breakdown phase in terms of the pressure indicator. That's what this little red marker right here tells us. So again, kind of looking for a breakdown. Not guaranteed it's going to happen. Bullish strength continues to play out, especially looks like some NASDAQ news or earnings really pushing the NASDAQ higher. We could get, some type of a gap move here. So you can see how we've rolled higher here. We could get some sort of a comeback here to hourly. we could get some sort of an extreme rally right up here, meaning we broke out of this range. We could be getting a big rally here, rolling into a possible pause pattern. This would be a very clean kind of a island topping formation. Remember, we still have the flagging. We still have the other formations that are taking place. You can kind of see the flagging up through here with the breakdown range. So you can see we have this up. I'll try to draw it. A, B, C, D, E should have been to the upside. And then we have this reset range here, which potentially draws a new flag from this area up to here, coming across this previous high. And in this case, I would potentially draw this range as A, B, C, D, potential E breakdown. So where we're at with this breakdown mode or this flagging mode, we've got to watch this for flag volatility, and you've got to understand that this could be a false high setup in this range. We could have extended volatility here. We could be setting up a false breakaway, trapping longs into a false move to the upside, and then rolling back down into a downside. It happens. You can see how, we rally up here, rally, 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 break down. You can see how we rally, 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 break down. So these are scenarios where we break to a new high, we trap a bunch of longs, and then we just collapse the market. So again, I would be cautious right now, but generally long. Okay, the SPY cycle patterns are a carryover in carryover mode, bullish, congesting, bullish, still in the bearish daily and weekly biasing trend, meaning that we don't have any new trigger from our last bearish trigger. So it just continues until we get a new trigger. We move into the crush pattern on the weekend, and then a major crush and counter trend after a bottom pattern sets up on Sunday. So I may be a little early on my breakdown trade, obviously. Like I said, willing to take my lumps, but at this point, we'll just kind of see what happens. If I do get a move, I'll be honest with you on the SPY. If I do get a move back down into or near these 703, 702 areas, I'm going to try to book whatever I can. Okay. If we do get that breakdown reversal mode in today's trading, if it changes direction and starts to move down below 704, 702, 701, I am starting to book everything that I can. Okay, anything that I can to recover. I may leave some small positions in till the end of the day, but if we get a breakdown, I'm going to be trying to maximize whatever I can out of these pending puts and short trades. Okay, gold and silver are bottoming again, back down into support. You can see how we keep retesting this support level down here. We do look like we're getting a little bit of a bounce. The gold cycle pattern is a reversal rally and counter trend. A reversal rally in this particular mode, given a downward cycle trend, I would suggest would be to the upside. Granted, I understand counter trend mode. We'll see if the market actually breaks down. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to, but it could. And if it does break down hard, we could see gold come back down and attempt to retest these lows again. So remember, we're really trying to look at these lower levels. That was supposed to be a horizontal line. I guess I'm not enough coffee for drawing this morning. So I think we're going to really try to hold these lower levels here for gold and silver. And these are acting as pretty solid support levels. If we get below this level, anywhere down in here, it's probably a pretty good buy. If we get any type of downward movement today, we might see gold and silver attempt to move into some kind of a washout low, but I think we're holding support here pretty cleanly. So a washout low, a deeper low is a potential if the market starts to roll downward, and we'll see. It's really going to depend on, what's going on with the Nasdaq, and is the Nasdaq capable of holding up after whatever news hit this morning. Yesterday was IBM. We'll see what happens today. Don't know. Again, the gold cycle pattern is a reversal rally in counter trend mode. Then we get a base rally in counter trend mode. Uh, and then we get a carryover on Monday, a blank pattern, crush pattern on Wednesday, gap potential, and then a top resistance in counter trend mode. So we're looking at some pretty big movement here. I'm hoping to the upside, but we will see. I mean, these counter trend base rally would indicate that, possibly some sort of a topping pattern setting up, meaning, I look at a base rally and counter trend mode as potentially a top. Breakaway could be a carryover, maybe to the upside, don't know yet. Blank pattern, crush pattern, and trend mode. This is going to be a big day, probably. Directionally, I would assume bullish, assuming we don't change direction here. Gap potential in carryover mode, it could indicate some sort of a gap off of this big move, probably, into the crush bar, meaning not away from it, but an opening price gap into the range of the crush bar. And then a top resistance pattern and counter trend sets up another bottom. Potentially, we have a breakdown, a rally and carryover on Sunday. That could be a pretty good rally bar. Blank pattern, another crush pattern, and then a counter trend gap potential, which is somewhat similar to what we have right here. But again, this looks kind of volatile, bottoming, in my opinion, and then maybe a rally. So we'll see. Okay, come back over here. Bitcoin is down a little bit. This is 1 hour. Let's come in here to daily. You can see that we had a bit of sideways activity yesterday. We are in neutral bullish trending, bullish trending, bullish trending for Bitcoin. You can see we had a little bit of a pullback, not much, honestly. Everybody kept highlighting this. I saw it more than one time. Oh, look, it's breaking down. Yeah, not really. Um, I think honestly, this re capitulation mode, let's call it, or invalidation mode, the rally here in Bitcoin is building enough momentum, and we're currently above the consolidation range that we could be expanding the consolidation range, but this is pretty indicative of a of an invalidation. So I think we're just going to continue to melt upward back up into this channel, 92, 93, 94, 95. Now, granted, we could be expanding the range. So the consolidation range was, kind of in this range to begin with. That was our consolidation range. In theory, we could come all the way up into this area and expand the consolidation range and still fail and attempt to move downward. So what would be a true invalidation would be a rally above this level. So once we get above this level, that green level right up there, that's invalidation. And how do we count invalidation? Is it's been able to break away from a major historic unique high. In the meantime, this is bullish. It's a pretty strong rally. It may continue. I would not be trying to get short this market right now because we're in an uptrend, but we do not have true technical breakaway invalidation until we get above this unique high. There are no other unique highs. There's one unique high down here. We're already above it. We got a unique high here. We're trying to get above another one potentially here. But the last major unique high occurred right here. So, in order for price to essentially break away from this range, we have to get above this high based on Fibonacci price theory. Okay, UNG holding kind of sideways. Let me go back and show you the Bitcoin cycle pattern. Today's a rally day in trend mode. And then we get rally, rally. So we get 1, 2, 3 days of rally. It looks like blank pattern, bottom and counter trend, which will be a top, possibly a blank pattern, Harami inside, breakaway, blank, blank, consolidation, and crush. So, given these rally bars, you know, it would make sense that Bitcoin is going to continue to move higher. It would make sense here that Bitcoin is going to attempt to probably come back up into this 82,000 area, right up into this area on a moderate rally through the weekend. And this is again a capitulation and appreciation essentially of Bitcoin, confirming that buyers are now starting to move back into Bitcoin looking for another rally. Again, we're not out of the woods till we get up above this level, but short term, intermediate term, definitely bullish right now. Okay, UNG, big breakdown yesterday, did not continue. We'll see what happens. Back down into these lows where I bought into it. A little bit lower pre-market. We'll see how it plays out. Again, markets are just kind of struggling. My friend uh, Carly, I'm drawing a blank on her last name. I've known her for 12 years. Carly, um, Garner, I think her last name is. Um, trying to draw on it, but I'm drawing a blank. But she was indicating she hasn't seen markets like this in years. The consolidation in certain commodities, the rotation in gold, the big rotation in the S&P, bonds, oil. We haven't seen markets like this in years. So they're really searching for direction. Is what we're you know what I'm trying to tell you is markets really are struggling for some direction because of all this news and bit of chaos. I think we're going to get into that settling of the markets more towards July, August, September, which means we have, all of April, May, June, maybe part of July of continued volatility. So it's going to be a matter of, get in, stick the trade, get out. Get in, stick the trade, meaning pull profits, hopefully, and get out. That's what we're going to have to focus on over the next 2, 3, 4 months. Okay, happy Friday. We'll see what happens. As I mentioned to you, the markets are going to open a little bit higher. We don't have any real indication of a breakdown mode. We still have those harmonic patterns that are setting up and breaking down from these highs. I think I can show them to you here. This is the chart that I was drawing with the ranging. You can see how we've come back up and rejected off of this high. Oops. You can see how we've rejected off of that high like a scouting party. If I come back over here to daily and come back over into this area, get rid of that, and plot the harmonics. Daily. Where were they? Did we invalidate on them already? I don't think so. Hourly. So here's our hourly harmonics. And the hourly harmonics are indicating target 1 range in the 700 area, target 2 range in the 698 to call it 674 area. So we've got a lot of short triggers here. A couple of them are inactive because of the range of the stop to the target areas. One has already gotten into the entry off the double topping formation. And give you an example, the target areas are suggesting a move down into 701, which will be in this area, or potentially Target 2, 672, 688, 697, 695. So somewhere down in this area, 688. So somewhere down in that box area, that's on the hourly basis. On the 2 hour basis, we are looking at a double bottom pattern in green, finding support off of these lows. All of these are inactive. Two shorts. Now that's because the risk reward ratio. The entry short here has not been confirmed. 709, 690. Actually, the double bottom pattern is back over here in blue. The anti cipher is the green. You can see the target levels: 696, 670, 672, 633. So these are much deeper down in this area here. Target 1, 697. So that's going to be a target area down here. And then we have a much lower target, 672 to 633. Oops. 672 in this area. And a deeper target down here in 633. Down in that area. So you can see how we have these rallies. Now you can see the double bottom pattern. If we do to get the expansion, get rid of this and get rid of that, then we are looking at a topping pattern of 718 and 726, which is right in line with my upper zones. And that would put us really up in this area as an upper target. So, given where we're at, we're waiting for confirmation and we're waiting for a move outside of this range. Technically, on this 2 hour chart, we have no entries. We haven't broken into the entry triggers yet. Back over here on the 1 hour chart, we have, I remember one entry, yeah, the double top entry at 704.03 had entered. It was inactive. It has a target of 700 and 695. So close to these lower areas down here, this box would be our potential immediate downward target on this hourly basis. Does it mean it's going to happen today? No. It can't guarantee it today. Does it mean it'll happen? No, I can't guarantee it'll happen. What it means is that we're getting a lot of topping patterns here on the harmonic system. And if any of these play out down to target one, then we're going to be looking at a move down into this 700 area, maybe a little lower. Okay, guys, that's it. Again, wonderful compliments. If you guys have any ideas about how to restructure the website to make it easier, I'm open. I have a lot of content. I'm going to try to figure out how to organize it and make it, pretty. I don't do pretty in my life. I'm more of a researcher. I'm more of a build it and put it out there somewhere. Try to organize it somewhat, but you know, like I told you, I can't draw. I'm not, I'm not a designer. Let's put it that way. I'm not a designer. I'm more of a nuts and bolts kind of guy than a designer. Yeah, I can make things work. Yeah, I can struggle and solve technical problems, but if you wanted me to make a beautiful, building or living room or whatever, you're better off trying to talk to Lisa. She's much better at design than I am. So anyway, I'm going to work on that this weekend, see what I can come up with. Okay, guys, a little bit long. I'm going to get it updated. Happy Friday. Let's kind of see what happens here. Like I said, I'm not counting on my puts to play out, but you know what? Would be a nice little surprise if they did today. So we'll see. Okay, guys, happy Friday.